Welcome to the WIA National News and the Alara Edition. Today's news is presented by Alara President VK1WIA Linda. WIA News is on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au. Now, here's Linda.
National news for week commencing August 22, 2021. This being the Alara Edition today, bringing you the news will be Norma VK2YL and Sal MB KB3TSD. VK5WIL Shirley will bring us the operational contest news. Lyndall VK4ZM looks at special interest group news. And immediate past WIA President Greg with news from the WIA board. Speaking of the WIA board, it was nice to hear at the WIA AGM and again on the WIA National News last week of the annual WIA AR Magazine's Technical Award going to Carmel Morris VK2CAR for her article of Clothesline Wire Makes Easy Multiband Antenna. Our congratulations also from Alara, Carmel. Now to today's news. I'm Alara President Linda, VK7QP.
Thanks, Linda. This is Greg, VK2GPK. Last week, ACMA released an update for amateur radio, the fourth amateur e-bulletin for 2021. And in that they covered three items. One, the outcome of the authority's assessment of amateur radio regulation. Two, was survey seeking our views on the allocation of 2x1 contest call signs. And an update of their review of non-assigned amateur licensing arrangements. The assessment of amateur radio regulation is a document that's about 3 pages long. It's definitely worth following the link to have a look at this. But I'll summarise that this document focused on the procurement process, decision-making, delegation and contract management arrangements in place under the deed of agreement between the ACMA and the University of Tasmania Australian Marine College, AMC, and regulatory development including consultation and implementation activities undertaken in relation to the services provided under the deed. In summary, and quoting from the update, with respect to communication with the amateur community, the assessment concluded that there was scope for improvement. For example, the assessment recommended that wherever possible, staff, that being ACMA staff, consider various strategies for engagement with the amateur radio community on regulatory reforms. The assessment also found that ACMA staff could be more proactive in managing issues under the deed. In addition, the assessment found that greater visibility could be provided to the authority of activities and decisions in relation to amateur radio matters taken by ACMA staff under delegation. And as I said, I'd refer you to the full document for full details. In terms of 2x1 call signs, basically there is a survey that is available on a link which closes on the 31st of August. And if you've got views on call signs and on 2x1 call signs and call sign management in general, I suggest that you look at completing this survey, which closes on the 31st of August. Finally, on non-assigned amateur licensing arrangements, as I said, the ACMA's proposed preference for a class licence. Basically, they've received over 800 submissions in response to that consultation, and they're still working their way through that. So that is still work in progress. Finally, I'd just like to commiserate with the very many people that are in lockdown. Hopefully we'll get through this. I'm sure of course we'll get through it. It's just a matter of how long. But I do encourage people, if they're thinking about getting vaccinated, just do it. Anyway, this is Greg, VK2GPK. Bye.
This is the Alara edition of the WIA National News Service, originating from VK1WIA.
International news. I'm Norma, VK2YL in Sydney. There's bad news, good news, and growing confusion on the long-planned but currently cancelled 2023 de-expedition to Bouvet Island. There are now 3 separate groups planning trips to the sub-Antarctic island, including one that split off from the original group but holds the 3Y0J licence, which plans to make the trip in 2022, and another that says it's ready to go later this year. Ken Opskar, LA7GIA, who holds the 3Y0J licence to operate from the Norwegian island, apparently has split off from the Intrepid DX group and formed a separate group that is now planning a 2022 visit. Plus Polish de-expeditioner Don Gryzub, 3Z9DX, says he has secured a licence for 3Y0I and has put together a group to activate the island later this year. A 1,032-foot radio and TV broadcast tower built in 1969 and provided coverage for 500,000 homes across northern England is now off air. Firefighters were sent to the site after a call from an engineer working on the transmitter near Helmsley. North Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service said there were concerns about the structural integrity of the mast, and a 300-metre exclusion zone was in place around it. Could be their local libraries will do a good trade, as the transmission facility was home to over 8 television multiplexes, BBC FM and DAB stations, and some 10 commercial DAB and FM outlets. The IARU Region 1 monitoring system suggests the Pluto 2 over-the-horizon radar system at the UK sovereign base area of Akrotiri may have been causing interference in several amateur radio bands. Akrotiri is a British overseas territory on the island of Cyprus. Icelandic Web SDR. The Icelandic Radio Club reports that ARI TF1A has installed a new web-based Kiwi SDR receiver owned and operated by TF3GZ, and that it has gone online in Iceland at an elevation of 690 metres. It can handle 8 users at a time. A 70-metre end-fed long wire covers all bands from VLF to 10 metres. 2 further Icelandic Kiwi SDR receivers are already active on the Internet. These receivers form a valuable resource when checking propagation across the world. The addresses for those receivers, amongst others, can be found on kiwisdr.com/public. A student of Aris educator Joanne Michael wins AIAA Khan $10,000 scholarship. Joanne taught him hands-on science in kindergarten through 5th grade at Meadows Elementary in the Manhattan Beach District. The young man is now enrolled at Stanford University. He wrote, "I love finding out the mechanics of any device and gaining knowledge by hands-on experience. I cannot stand not knowing what lies beyond our reach in the universe. My goal is to take part in Mars colonization plans as an engineer-astronaut and help advance astronautical engineering in the world." Congrats, Joanne. Your skills have won out here. Although the first CubeSat launched by Mauritius is still not available for general amateur radio use, it has already accomplished an important educational mission in the STEM community. According to an audio post on Amateur Radio Newsline by our own editor, Graham, VK4BB, the Mauritius Amateur Radio Society students at 3 schools in Mauritius have received and decoded signals from the satellite known as MERSAT-1, which stands for Mauritius Imagery and Radio Telecommunication Satellite Number 1. AMSAT say that other schools and educational institutions are preparing to follow suit. According to AMSAT, the satellite is still in safe mode and being tested. The Radio Society expects to announce when we hams will be able to use it. The satellite was deployed from the International Space Station on June 22nd. MERSAT-1 has an expected lifetime of between 2 and 3 years. Wrapping up today's international news, it's to Region 3. Where inventive amateurs have come up with a clever way to communicate with the QO100 satellite. Two hams in India have designed prototype converters that will enable the hams to use the transponders on board the geosynchronous satellite. The prototypes include both up and down converters. Home brewers Sashi Bhushan VU2XZ and A. Amarendra VU2AAP told the Telangana Today newspaper that the converters eliminate the need for such expensive equipment as software-defined radios. They said the system works in a similar way to a TV set-top box that receives programs beamed from satellites, converting radio waves into signals for the TV. The circuit boards within the converter are designed to communicate via the 10 GHz frequency for downlink and the 2.4 GHz frequency for the uplink. For WIA National News and the Alara Edition, I am Norma, VK2WIA.
You're tuned to VK1WIA and the WIA National News Service on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
Let's now switch to the weird and wonderful. Definitely not for the anti-vaxxers. This is a story of surplus syringes being used in a ham radio tuner. Hackaday reports on a project by Tom, KB9ENS, which uses a 60 milliliter syringe to make a variable inductor and a variable capacitor for amateur radio use. Amateur radio has a long history of encouraging experimentation using whatever one might have on hand, or in this case may have been in the arm. When KB9ENS wanted to use his 14 MHz antenna outside of his designed frequency range, he knew he'd need an impedance matching circuit. The most common type is an L-match circuit, which uses a variable capacitor and a variable inductor to adjust the resonance of an antenna.
Ham radio operational news. It's a contact sport. I'm Shirley, VK5WIA. 41st Alara contest. Combined phone and CW run over 24 hours, starting on Saturday 28th August at 0600 hours UTC, finishing Sunday 29th August at 0559 hours UTC. So that's next weekend, ladies and everybody else. We of Alara are really looking forward to hearing some young and new YLs in the contest again this year and catching up with many amateurs along the way. Some of the committee will be handing out numbers on HF and Echolink to show their support. We are also hoping to hear from Scouts and Guides in this year's contest, so be sure to listen out for them. This year we will be using our Facebook page again for spotting YLs. This page is optional for amateurs using Facebook who wish to notify others about YLs who are in the contest. Just enter the YL's call sign, current frequency and mode. This page is now ready to join. Just search for Alara Contest in Facebook. Sue, VK5AYL, our contest manager, reminds us that YLs cannot spot or encourage others to spot them, but this page will give other amateurs a chance to find YLs around the bands during the contest. The contest rules have been uploaded to the Alara Contest page. For those who don't have Facebook and would like a copy of the rules, please email Sue, VK5AYL on alaracontest@wia.org.au. Please join in and support our YLs. No masks required. Oceania Contest. Voice from 0800 UTC, Saturday the 2nd of October to 0800 UTC, Sunday, October the 3rd. CW from 0800 UTC, Saturday the 9th of October to 0800 UTC, Sunday, October the 10th. Spring VHF, UHF Field Days, November 27-28. December 4th, 5th, 160 metre worldwide. December the 11th to the 12th, 10 metre worldwide. The DX window. VI50 Sierra Golf is QRV until December 31, commemorating 50 years of the St George Amateur Radio Society in New South Wales. QSL via the Bureau. Alpha X-Ray 4 Whiskey India Tango. Again, early news of this station for its just about once a year day. January 26th, which is Australia Day, and a Wednesday next year. Townsville Club will activate from their annual camp out Blue Water Way. Blue Water, for the uninitiated, is about 30 clicks from Townsville CBD. VK1WIA Home. Don't forget that the WIA special event call sign VK2 Home is still available for members' use until December 31st, 2021. Check the WIA website and special event pages to book your time slot for use. Uganda 5 X-ray. Elvira is signing 5 X-ray 3 Romeo until September 2. She has 100 watts to a dipole, doing SSB, digital and CW. QSL via the Bureau. South Korea. Members of the Korean Amateur Radio League Chungbuk headquarters have activated special event station Hotel Lima 76 Victor to celebrate the 76th anniversary of South Korea's liberation. Activity will continue until August the 31st. QSL again via the Bureau. Listen up for members of the radio club Querétaro in Mexico using the special call sign 6 Echo 0 Charlie Charlie to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the consummated independence from Spain. They will be on various HF bands until September the 30th. QSL via X-ray Echo 1 Echo Echo. Switzerland joins the Antarctic Treaty celebrations. Members of the Swiss National Organisation USKA, supported by the Radio Amateur Club Swissair, Hotel Bravo 9 Victor Charlie, join the celebrations around the Antarctic Treaty with the call sign Hotel Bravo 60 Alpha November Tango until the end of the year. QSL via club log OQRS. Sending a card is not necessary. Still to come in today's WIA news, special interest groups with Lyndall, VK4 Zulu, Mike. I'm Shirley, VK5YL, and hope to contact you during our contest. 33 and 73.
You're tuned to the Alara edition of the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service through amateur radio station VK1WIA.
The Q News Workbench, the Nuts and Bolts Report. Serving ham with Raspberry Pi. Hands down, the Raspberry Pi is an amazing open source device. Technology hobbyists implement it in many projects, from sending instant messages to making retro video games. Now it's being used for projects for amateur radio. Recently, many ham radio operators have been incorporating Raspberry Pis into their projects, and year by year, month by month, these little single-board computers have seen the light of day in more and more ham shacks. They are easy to implement and portable, eliminating the need for heavy, stationary and expensive equipment. Now a list of the year's best and easiest ham projects with the Pis are available at the link in this week's text edition of the WIA National News, the Alara Edition on wia.org.au. Projects include RTL SDR scanner, ham clock, satellite tracker, weather station, mini antenna rotator, and even a code keyer. The list is endless, but with this list of cool Pi devices is worth more than just a cursory glance.
You're tuned to VK1WIA and the WIA National News Service on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au. Worldwide Special Interest Group News, I'm Lyndall, VK4ZM. Faith. Special call sign HG52IEC is active now until September 30th. The call, HG52IEC, is for the 52nd International Eucharistic Congress taking place in Budapest. The one-week event, held regularly since 1881, every 4 years in recent times, celebrates the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist according to the teaching of the Catholic Church. This is the second time that Hungary hosts the International Eucharistic Congress, with the first one also held in Budapest way back in 1938. QSL Hotel Golf 52 India Echo Charlie via EQSL only. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Final Frontier. A firm co-founded by a radio amateur has just merged with the SpaceX technology giant. Sal MB KB3TZD from Amateur Radio Newsline has more.
SpaceX, Elon Musk's giant California-based space technology company, has acquired a satellite communications company co-founded by an amateur radio operator. The merger makes Swarm Technologies a wholly owned subsidiary of SpaceX. Swarm, which specializes in Internet of Things technology and low-cost satellite connectivity, has asked the Federal Communication Commission to transfer control of its Earth and space station licenses. Swarm was founded in 2016 by Ben Longmire, KF5KMP, and Sarah Spangelo. In 2020, the company launched its first dozen commercial satellites, established ground stations in Alaska, New Jersey, Washington State, Guam, the Azores, and elsewhere, and began expanding market access. Swarm is licensed in non-voice, non-geostationary mobile satellite service operating in the bands between 137 to 138 MHz, and 148 to 149.95 MHz. In 2020, Swarm Technologies placed second in the most innovative space companies list created by Fast Company. The top spot went to SpaceX. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Sal MB, KB3TZD.
Thanks, Sal. In 2020, Swarm Technologies placed second in the most innovative space companies list created by Fast Company. The top spot went to SpaceX. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Lighthouses. Despite the global effect of the COVID pandemic, the ILLW, or International Lighthouse Weekend, is ablaze right now. 310 registered lights, Germany in the lead with 63 entries, followed by the USA with 45, and some of the smaller countries with just one: Cyprus, Gibraltar, Iceland, Market Reef, and Slovenia. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. Carlos, Charlie Oscar 2 Juliet Charlie, is the Emergency Coordinator for Region 2 and requests all societies, especially those in Region 2, to continue to protect the following emergency frequencies operating in conjunction with that devastating Haiti earthquake: 3750, 7150 and 14330 kHz. The quake has left around 2,000 people dead and some 7,000 injured. That toll is expected to rise in the coming days, some 8 days after the quake hit. Search and rescue efforts are being hampered by a lack of resources and by heavy rains, which have caused mudslides that have blocked roads. Haiti has also found itself this week in the direct path of Tropical Depression Grace, which is aggravating the recovery effort. In other rescue radio news, hams from the Algerian National Society, ARA, are assisting with emergency communications as deadly forest fires continue to sweep through the northern region. The International Amateur Radio Union Region 1 reported that at least 65 lives were claimed by the blaze raging in the town of Wassif in the province of Tizi Ouzou. Operating on 7.110, 3.650 and 14.300 MHz, hams established communications between the mobile station of Wassif and the crisis centre in Tanda. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Youngsters on the Air.
Taking part in Morocco's annual Youth Day celebration, 21st August, the idea of Youth Day goes back to the Moroccan independence movement decades ago. Members of the Association Royale des Radio Amateurs du Maroc are using the prefix 5 Echo 8 between 20th and 29th August. Celebrated on the birthday of the reigning monarch, 21st August, Youth Day is a public holiday across the land that honours the contribution of the youth to the Kingdom of Morocco. With Special Interest Groups News, I'm Lyndall, VK4ZM.
This is the Alara edition of the WIA National News Service, originating from VK1WIA.
2021 Social Scene. Due to the COVID-19 situation, please check these events direct for the up-to-date status information. And even without COVID, dates have an uncanny knack of being changed at the last moment. VK4, a Redcliffe AR Club car boot sale has changed to the date of August the 28th at 9 a.m. VK7, Reist September 1 presentation night, P25 Emergency Services Network build. On the 1st of September from 7:30, Hobart Hams have the privilege of having Andrew Johns, VK7AJ, giving a presentation on how to build a statewide P25-based emergency services radio network. This should be a fascinating look into what it takes to provide a digital radio network in a challenging environment like Tasmania. VK4 Gladstone Fun Day, September the 11th at 10 a.m. VK5 Australian Fox Hunting Championship and Surge Convention has unfortunately been cancelled for 2021. VK4 Cardwell Gathering from October the 1st to the 4th at the Beachcomber Motel and Tourist Park. And VK4 Sunfest Field Day, Monday, October the 4th at the Nambour Showgrounds in Queensland. And with that brings the curtain down on today's WIA National News. So thanks to Greg, Norma, Sal, Shirley and Lyndall. I'm Linda, VK7QP, Alara President. See you in the Alara contest next weekend, and again right here in December, when Alara will bring you all the news that matters in the WIA National News.
This has been the Alara edition of WIA National News and was presented by Alara President VK7QP Linda. WIA News is on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions www.wia.org.au.